How do NBA players choose their jersey numbers? Jersey numbers often represent the legacy that a player leaves in the memory of spectators. Franchises retire the numbers so that no one else can wear them, showing respect for the contribution of the greatest players in NBA history. However, the stories behind the jersey number choices are unbelievable. It's time to answer the question, how do NBA players choose their jersey numbers? It is very common in the NBA for players to try to get the same jersey number as their idols. The reason is simple, and that is that players start wearing those numbers when they are young, trying to mirror the play of the league's superstars. That is exactly what happened to Dirk Nowitzki. The German, after watching the performances of the US Dream Team during the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, was inspired by the play of Charles Barkley, who wore jersey number 14 during his time with Team USA. This caused Dirk to start choosing that number to play, precisely since he was 14 years old. However, we all know that this is not the number Nowitzki ended up wearing during his NBA career. When he was drafted by the Dallas Mavericks, the number 14 was chosen by Steve Nash's then backup point guard, Robert Pack. Robert, who was 29 years old at the time, did not give the number to Dirk, which caused the German to have to reverse the number to end up wearing 41. When 14 finally became free 2 years later, Nowitzki decided to stick to the number with which he had played his rookie season. So the number 14 became the property of Eduardo Najera. Sometimes this legacy runs in the family. That is exactly the case with Steph Curry, whose family has had a tradition in the NBA. Many people know this, but Stephen and Seth's father was one of the best sixth men in the entire league. Del Curry played for 5 different franchises from 1986 to 2002. But the teams where he played the most seasons were the Charlotte Hornets and the Toronto Raptors. Precisely in the Canadian franchise, Del played some of the most important games of his career, including the series in which he and Vince Carter tried to defeat Allen Iverson's Sixers, who would later reach the 2001 Finals. Del played throughout his career with the number 30, and Steph wore this same number since his high school days as a tribute to his father. However, the younger brother Seth, although he has tried to wear this number during his career, has had to play seasons with the numbers 31, 10, or 1. A player who has also had to play with number 1 because his favorite number was not available has been James Harden. The former Houston Rockets and Brooklyn Nets shooting guard has worn number 13 throughout his career. And the reason for this choice could be considered the opposite of superstitious. James claims that the number 13, defined by everyone as bad luck, has brought him a lot of success, which has made him continue to wear it throughout his career. When Harden was in college, he had to decide between number 13 and number 32. However, when he was traded to Philadelphia in exchange for Ben Simmons, neither was available due to Wilt Chamberlain and Billy Cunningham retired jerseys. So the step-back king had to stick with number 1, which he currently wears and will continue to do so if he decides to renew his contract with the Sixers. Speaking of the Sixers, we come to Allen Iverson. Some players choose to wear jersey numbers that have tangible meaning. This is exactly the case with Allen, who, coming from a very humble family, promised his mother he would buy her a house in a nice neighborhood thanks to his future career in the NBA or in the NFL. Iverson was a great running back in high school until he decided to choose basketball. However, the real reason he wore number 3 was because of the number of people he was responsible for supporting: his mother, his grandmother, and himself. Iverson's Philadelphia 76ers jersey is one of the best-selling jerseys in league history, setting trends on and off the court. Another player whose jersey had a numerical meaning was Gilbert Arenas. The Wizards' point guard, a 3-time All-Star, had a pre-draft mentality that many scouts defined as problematic. Arenas was an extroverted player who didn't care who was in front of him. This caused numerous concerns among Division I recruiters, but Gilbert landed a spot at the University of Arizona. However, experts claim that a player with Arenas' mentality would play a total of 0 minutes at such a prestigious university. That's all the future Wizards point guard had to hear, as he decided to wear the number 0 in honor of the analysts. Just 3 games later, Gilbert got the starting spot on the Wildcats team. Precisely from Washington, the franchise that would enjoy Arenas' best years is Kevin Durant. The legendary small forward has kept his jersey number throughout his career, and the reason behind his decision is truly emotional. Charles Craig, nicknamed Big Chucky, was one of Kevin's first coaches and mentors during his early basketball career. However, on April 29, 2005, Craig was murdered in cold blood, causing Durant deep sadness. As a tribute, Kevin decided to wear the number 35 for the rest of his career, representing the young age at which Charles was killed. One of KD's biggest rivals throughout his NBA career has been LeBron James, and the story behind his choice of number 23 has a lot to do with the figure of Michael Jordan. When LeBron was still playing in high school at St. Vincent St. Mary's, he decided to adopt that number in honor of MJ. But what he never knew was that his name would end up being in the same status as the Chicago Bulls legend. When LeBron signed in the summer of 2009 with the Miami Heat, the franchise had retired Michael Jordan's number 23 without ever having been on the Heat roster. That's when LeBron decided to adopt the number of his other idol, Julius Erving. During his time in Miami and during his time with the Lakers, except for his first year, James has worn the number 6 on his jersey in honor of the Sixers legend. But generations pass at the same speed as time, and LeBron James has inspired other players currently in the NBA. This is the case of Fred VanVleet, whose story behind his number is hilarious. Fred is a native of Illinois, so Michael Jordan's influence is also reflected in his decision. But the story that really made VanVleet choose number 23 goes back to high school, when he played pickup basketball with his friends. Fred had to do everything for his team to win, score, assist, rebound, so one of his teammates told him he had to pick 23 because his game resembled LeBron James. Today, VanVleet is a completely different player, and he's only 6 feet, so the story behind his jersey number is always funny. As of today, there is a big debate among Denver fans about whether or not to retire Carmelo Anthony's number 15. And the problem is that two-time NBA MVP Nikola Jokic is currently wearing that number. I'm sure no one thought the Serbian's performance would be so sublime in the NBA, but the reason behind Jokic's decision is not exactly because he idolizes Carmelo Anthony. In fact, it's much simpler. In European countries, there is a rule that forbids players to wear a number higher than 15. And Nikola was by far the biggest guy on his entire team, so the coach said that the biggest number was going to the biggest player. That was it. I'm sure Jokic's coach in Serbia didn't think that innocent decision would spark one of the most intense debates in franchise history. But Nikola isn't the only European to win an NBA MVP in recent years. Giannis Antetokounmpo did the same, also twice, in addition to being crowned as NBA champion in the 2020-2021 season. The player who averaged 6 points and 6 rebounds in the Greek second division signed with Kai Zaragoza during the same summer in which he was drafted, but immediately headed to the United States where he became the youngest player in the league. However, despite the incredible story of his formative years, Giannis' decision to wear number 34 is a family affair. His parents, born in 1963 and 1964, represent each of the 2 digits of the Greek's dorsal. Coincidentally, number 34 is one of the most iconic numbers in the entire history of the league, worn by players such as Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, or Paul Pierce, and now Giannis is contributing to this legacy. Behind every numbered jersey is a story. Whether as a tribute, as a symbol, or simply in imitation of the league's best stars, every kid dreams of getting the number they want at the beginning of every season. These have been some of the reasons behind NBA players' jersey numbers.